Hey, welcome back to the channel Quick Rips. Today I'll be doing a PSA reveal video. They had a really good special, 20 card minimum, $24.99, 20 business days are left. Believe it or not, that's one of their better deals because I think it's usually $39.99 if you want 20 business days are left for PSA. So, and you do have to be a member of the Collectors Club, which they raised the rates. This year I just renewed. It was $149.99 for that. So it's getting very expensive to grade cards. This was my worst PSA submission ever as far as grades. I'm just kind of blown away by it. Kind of a waste. It was a waste of money based on the grades I got. I've never had such a bad gem rate. I usually am around 60 to 80%, closer to like 65-75% gem rate, because I do take a ton of time inspecting my cards, cleaning my cards, putting them under lights, and just I only try to submit stuff that I think would get a 10, knowing I'm not always going to get a 10, but I don't just submit junk. So some of these grades were shocking to me. So this was what you call an epic fail of a submission. I think I had a bad grader. Debating cracking a ton of these and resubmitting them. I have, in a previous submission, I had 5 cards come back as 9s. I cracked every single one of them. The next submission, I got all 10s on those 9s. So it does work. Cracking these slabs is not the hardest thing to do. You just have to know how to do it. And it's a little trial and error. If you're going to do it, I would suggest cracking a slab of a junky card, because you can make a mistake, and mess up your card. So I think I practiced on like a Puka Nakua once. It was like a PSA 8 when I didn't know what I was doing, a base card. So anyway, I will go through the submission. I do peek at my grades ahead of time, so none of this is a surprise to me. Obviously, as I stated, the grades were terrible. And honestly, you do have to get PSA 10s to pay for the submission, because it was like, $500-600 for this submission. So total waste, total bust, but that's how it goes. I hate YouTubers that cover up the grades and do this with the card. It's like so annoying. For anyone that does that, please stop. It's the most annoying thing in the world. You're not cool. It just ruins it for the audience. Anyway, so Brock Bowers, Prism Variation. This card is kind of something you wouldn't grade unless you thought it could a 10, just because of the value. A 9 I can live with. I guess it could be a 9. This card I knew wouldn't gem off center, but thought it was worth a shot. Short story on this card. This was my card. I bought my son 10 Costco boxes for Christmas, and he got cooked. And he didn't hit, so I gave him my Jane Daniels card because I felt so bad that he didn't get a good card. I thought it could get a 10 because of the corners, everything, but it was off center, but still better as a slab. That's his card. This was one of the good cards that gemmed. Bo Nix, Pandora. The Pandoras are real clean this year. So that was a 10. Then I did a JJ McCarthy Pandora. Got an 8. That one is... centering is identical to Bo. Yeah, that's a 10. 10 or a 9. I'll crack it and see if there's something on the card that I missed, but I'm not doing an 8 with that card. So I'll crack that one for sure. This card got a 7. I submit downtowns, a ton of them. I've never gotten below a 9. Got a 7. Corners, surface, perfect. I know that the top to bottom is way off center, so I figured a 9 on this. 7 is a joke. Crack that. 9 on this card. The difference between a 9 and a 10 with PSA is just the grader, to be honest with you guys, if I'm going to be. So, I don't know. That one, another 9. This card's awesome. Not a fan of the player, but awesome card. Micro Mosaic's one of the coolest cards in the hobby, in my opinion. Got a 9. I knew the front looked great. The back, the bottom's a little choppy in the top on these things, so a 9-10, that's a fair grade for sure. This is where I'm kind of annoyed. We get into these downtowns. I don't know. I got a 9 on my neighbor's downtown. It could be off center. It doesn't seem that way. My Bauer's downtown. Got another 9. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. Just 0 for 2. This was crazy. This is just nuts. I've never had this happen. Tyreek Hill, another downtown 9. I'm just trying to see if PSA damaged my card. If I'm going to crack and resub, I want to be careful because they sometimes do put fingerprints and mess up your cards. Brian Thomas variation, another one you have to get a 10 on or it was a wasted submission. So I took a lot of time inspecting it. I don't know. Not seeing it. This card would have been huge as a 10. I looked at like, I don't know, 10 of these cards and picked this one out of the litter. Yeah. I think the 9 actually does well. This one's definitely a 9. That corner was not like that when I submitted it. They bent my corner. I would never submit a card like that, but I'm definitely not cracking that. Another downtown. Never, like I said, I never had this happen, and I've submitted over 100 downtowns. A 9. It's so clean. This Drake made disco. Could be off center. Prism is just bad this year. It's almost impossible to get a 10. Another 9. Just leave it alone. Whatever. This card was one of the bigger shocks of the submission. I inspected this card so thoroughly. Michael Penix Silver. I pulled it on my channel. Got a 7. Total joke. It's just really clean. The corners aren't perfect, but it's not a 7. Another downtown. What is that? 6 downtowns, not a 10. And they usually grade pretty good. And then these were my Kabooms that I'm trying to complete the set. Kabooms I don't expect a 10 ever. So I did get they're a little thicker. I got a 9 on the Rome. And then I had 2 because I pulled 2. I got a 10. So I only got 2 10s this whole submission, which is terrible. I didn't know the difference. Like I said, the difference between a 9 and a 10, it's going to be the grader. I couldn't tell you. I'll probably end up selling the 10 just to recoup some money off the submission and keep the 9 in my collection. Trying to complete the set. I'm not a fan of Roma Dunze or the Bears. It's just I'm trying to complete the set. It's only my second 10. I got 2 10s. Roma Dunze 9, and then Derrick Henry. Pulled this one myself. Got a 9. I'm not upset at a 9 on a Kaboom. They're hard to grade. I don't see anything wrong with it, but like I said, I'm not upset. And then Penix pulled this one, got an 8. Yeah, I don't know. Pulled it myself. So this is 20 cards, 2 10s. Good cards I got 10s on, but I only submitted good cards, kind of. I didn't really submit much like low end. The most low end stuff were the base Jaden, which the highest sale on that's $2,000, which is silly. And then these variations, I'll keep them as 9s. It might add a little value, even though raw sells similar to 9. It just might add some value because someone gets a slab. But overall, I had a horrible experience on this submission. I'm chalking it up to a bad grader. I don't have other people submit my cards. I take a ton of time, use gloves. I have a whole process. It takes me a good amount of time. I have another submission here sitting to the side that I'm second guessing now. This is for my son. I'm just second guessing submitting any of these because I'm scared I'm going to get cooked. A lot of cool cards, though. Power Silver. That one looks so clean. That looks super clean. And then I'm just submitting all my Kabooms for the collection. And I don't know. I'm just kind of scared to submit any prisms right now. I've yet to get a gem. I've yet to see many gems. The gem rate's 21% on Prism this year, so it's going to make the 10s worth more, which is the positive. I think the 9s might be worth a little bit more if they're. I heard they're putting a lot of 8s and 7s, so maybe the 9s become worth more than raw this year, which would be kind of cool. But definitely disappointed with my results. I don't just submit anything, and that's how it goes sometimes. I do have another 25 card submission and a 10 card submission in there, but one's a PC submission. It's just 10 cards. Other's a 25 card submission. That's mostly cards that I want to sell, and then I'm going to do one more, and I got to debate if I'm going to crack some of this stuff and resub it. I'm not going to crack. I don't advise people cracking 7s and resubmitting them because we probably missed something, right? Like, there's got to be something wrong to get a 7. I've never cracked anything lower than a 9 and resubbed. I mean, you could probably. I bet I could crack this. Guarantee you, I get at least a 8 or 9. Maybe I crack this and resubmit it for as an experiment to recrack an 8 to see if I can get a 10. That'd be kind of cool. I don't see anything wrong with it. Cracking 9s and like I said, to 10s, that's just simply, I think it's a grader issue. Sometimes there is a flaw, don't get me wrong. But this card, I definitely wouldn't have submitted with that corner. I know they did that. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. This was a short video, just kind of a tips and tricks video, my experiences with PSA. I grade some of the cards that I want to sell. Just PSA 10s, you get a lot more money for them, and it's just so expensive to rip wax. This is a good way to recoup some of your money and then put it back into the cards. So if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you tuning in. Subscribing's greatly appreciated. Hitting that like button. Comments always appreciated. I try to reply to all comments, and stay tuned for more.